Years ago, my very first office where I taught game development independently was across the street from a tattoo parlor. I used to actually hang out over there while I was working on contract game development for iPhone. It's actually where I got my wrist tattoos, it's where I got my shoulder tattoos, my ankle tattoos. You don't need to see my ankle ones today. But while having conversation there with one of the tattoo artists, well, it happens like this, right? So she gave someone this big old dead tree tattoo on the chest. And dead trees are the kind of thing where there's a lot of different shapes they might take, right? Kind of like an alien. And you can't really look at it and say, like, well, it couldn't be like that. I mean, they could be all kinds of ways. But it just didn't come out great. And she knew this. Now, obviously, she was trying to play up with a client of, hey, it's exactly what we had sketched, exactly how you wanted, exactly what they came in there to get done. And she delivered on that. And so she, thanked them, congratulated them on the new tattoo, set them out the door. And the moment the door closed, she just turned to me and she was like, Chris, everybody in every line of work has good days and bad days. This was not my best work. And that's rough, right? Because it's a tattoo. It stays on this person for life. Most of us don't get very many of them. Many people get 0. Most people, if any, get 1 or 2 or something. But you don't think about the fact that for somebody else, right, they're doing this every single day back to back. Hundreds over the span of a year in many cases. And that there's going to be good and bad days. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be a range of your best work and your not so best work. That's going to happen in anything. And I mention this today not because I suspect you either need tattoos or are going to give tattoos, but rather because of this point that they're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, there's going to be some errors or less than perfection kind of coming out of it. And that this is important because no matter what it is you're doing, which obviously I like to keep things broad, right? If it's game development, there's so many even areas within that for graphics, for music composition, for level design, for programming. Outside of game development, I obviously work with podcasting, with YouTube videos, with writing ebooks and audiobooks and other kind of stuff. There will be good ones and bad ones, right? Blog entries, you name it, whatever thing. There's going to be good and bad ones. And the only way to make no errors and have no bad days of it is to not do it at all. Is to be someone who's not doing things, who's not making stuff. You don't want to live that life. You don't want to be that person, right? You don't want to just be waiting out the clock. You want to be doing stuff. And given that the nature of these kind of errors, these human mistakes, no matter how good you get at it, there's still going to be a percentage. You might be able to bring the percentage down from 10% to 9%, from 5% to 4%. It's still going to be a percentage. It's going to be basically proportional to how much you're doing it. If you do it twice as often, you're going to make twice as many mistakes. Total, right? It's a common issue in sales. Sales work in the broadest sense, whether we're talking like conversion of a website, whether we're talking about door-to-door sales, which I realize is not how a lot of the world operates, but very, very normal is to recognize no matter how much they hone their process and their script and their phrasing and positioning and trying to reach the right people in the right areas, the right time of day, and the right moods and all that kind of stuff, it's still a game of numbers where most people are going to say no. Right? They got to get a lot of rejections to get any yeses. It's the same way when you're applying for jobs. If you might have all the right criteria, all the right qualifications, all exactly the person they need, but you know what? So are 10 other people who also applied. And so it becomes a numbers game of you can do everything right, you still got to keep doing it. But the reason I point that out is in those kind of cases, what we talk about then is, okay, well, if you get 1 in 40 people to say yes in a cold call, which again, I realize cold call is not how most of the market works, but if it takes 40 attempts to sell to get 1 sale out of it, the way you get 2 sales is you make 80 calls. The way you get 3 sales is you make 120 calls. You make 4 sales, 160 calls. Now, I hope you're not spamming people, but I think you get the idea, right? The same thing for if you're looking for your 1 in 100 best video, 1 in 100 best book, 1 in 100 best song. You got to make 100 to get there in many cases. Not just for practice and experience, but obviously there's an element of that too, and the reflection that comes from it. But even just the numbers game of each one sort of an independent opportunity out there of a chance that it's the right timing, the right place, the right attempt. In the process, you're going to make mistakes. And if you want to keep doing what you're doing and getting better at it and doing more of it, it's going to mean making twice as many mistakes, 3 times as many mistakes, 5 times, 10 times as many mistakes. That means you're doing it 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x as much. And if you start seeing those mistakes deciding to let off, to back off, you're retreating. You're going to be steering away from where you got to be going, which is towards doing it more. That's for now. It's just encouraging you to go make more of the kind of mistakes you want to make, doing the kind of things that are important to you, accepting that there will be a range of good days, bad days, good outcomes, less so good outcomes. Percentages game. So as part of that, you do more of it, but you don't stop doing it. That's for now. Catch you another day. Bye for now.